two people telling you what to do tonight. Well, not telling you what to do, telling you what not to do, or something anyway. Yeah. So how have you been? I've had the feeling that you're kind of hovering pretty close to this stuff.
Yes, I am. And what I felt the need for was that bear with me while I kind of go back to the table. So what I have felt is that there are two things that are coming in the way. One is the fact that I have been a survivor. So what's worked for me is also blocking me. So, and the way I have survived is through my intellect, hustling in life, just landing in a situation, learning, adapting. So that's really worked for life. But that very thing is coming in the way because now I want to hustle this. So I tried hustling this, it didn't work. I tried shortcuts, it didn't work. It just gives you flashes of insight and then no. And also with hustling, what happens is you want to take shortcuts. You want to just say, oh, what's your goal? Just hit the goal. But I realized that the journey is the point and you have to go back to the basics. So what I am doing right now is I signed up with LU for a guide.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So I have a guide. His name is Henry. And so I've been dodging him also when he comes very close to, hitting the real sweet, real sensitive points. But the fact that I'm just with authenticity and the best possible capacity, just doing the exercises is revealing so much. It's just revealing so much. And I'm like, wait, what? I mean, this is so basic. I actually don't think I ever sat down and felt my body sensations in that way, even when I was doing Vipassana retreats for 10 days. Because there was so much mind game happening about that also. There's so much story happening during the 10 days about what you were observing, and then anicca and this and that. So so I went back to primary school.
Great. Yes.
And I can see the difference, because like one of the things that I realized was my need for specialness. So there was this also that I will be enlightened, and then I will be special, and then I will teach the rest, so I'll be the guru and I'll have, and I am going to liberate everybody, because it comes also with a lot of the conditioning from, not conditioning from Buddhism, but what I interpret from the Buddhist teachings. So my ego kind of co-opts it and says, oh, I should liberate all beings. So first of all, there is this I that's going to get liberated, enlightened, and then is going to impart it to the others or facilitate it for others. So all of that, Henry is just making me put aside. He says, do you need to know why? And then just putting all of that aside and just say, here, now, what's happening? So
are you aware? Are you aware that everything you've just told us is a story about Shaheen?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So for the time, you haven't actually been present at all.
No, I haven't. No. Because I also realized that the only time I feel truly present is actually in silence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the only time when I have, like, a few seconds of being here.
it's easy to develop the idea that there was something wrong with the way you were. And it's not so. There was nothing wrong with it. So all of your, how you might describe as unenlightened behavior is all fine. And people who are awake still experience a lot of what you've been talking about. The difference between the awake person and the not awake person is that the awake person knows. They recognize what's going on. They don't try and stop it. They don't apologize for it. It's just there. It just comes up. And it's an opportunity to look a little deeper. So we're not trying to change the way you are. That's something that's really fundamental. It's really hard to get into. There is nothing wrong with what goes on. All we want to do is shift the perspective that we look at it from. So we want to see it from a step back, if you like, rather than from being involved in it and not seeing it at all. We just want to be able to see it. And when we do see it, it changes. And it no longer controls us. But there's nothing wrong with anything that comes up. That's a really, really big one. You do not have to be a different person. You can't be a different person, even if you want to. Right? Shaheen is Shaheen. You've got all of your experience, all of your conditioning, every bit of every part of you is the way you are. And it's lovely. We don't need it to be different.
I try to chip away at it, but then I keep coming back to these things, not wanting to let go control, wanting to improve.
Yep. Okay. So let's go. Let's use the control thing, right? Don't try to not control. Just try to be aware of it when you do control. And there's an irony, and that is the moment you become aware of it, it changes. But if you try and change it, you make it stronger.
Try not to
about people
control.
writing
It's
things
also
down.
true. It's also well put, Vince. It was a really good speech there.
Thank you.
I can only agree with everything. No. It was brilliant. The thing is that it's enough to see something, and notice it, for it to kind of start morphing and transforming. If you force a change, there will be resistance, and there will be fight, and there will be war, and there will be cost, and there will be victims. It's not going well. I'm trying to avoid language traps, and, and I can't express it. But if it's only noticed and kind of accepted that it is a fact that you are, for example, controlling, but you see that you are controlling, it kind of melts away. It becomes less dense and less solid, this controlling thing. It becomes a little bit of a joke, maybe. Like it's not that serious anymore. It doesn't have this gravity to it. It doesn't pull you that much. It doesn't trap you. So that's exactly what Vince was saying. It was really well said.
The seeing always has humor in it. You can't see without finding it a little funny that's the way it was.
Yeah. You can't fight fire with fire, so to speak. You can't you can't fight control with more control over that control.
Yeah,
It's just not going to work.
That's why the moment Vince said, try not to control, I was like, wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah, release the grip. That's the thing. Allow yourself, to just see you controlling. And that is usually, well, like a fracture that starts a break.
Yeah.
Like a tiny line that shows up in a wall. And then when you look into it and you kind of cherish it and water the plants, kind of just be there. Well, it kind of grows, and you end up just noticing it all softening, and there is not that much trapping anymore. Because control over control, no way. That's war. That's war, and in war there are no winners. Everybody loses.
Yeah.
And you are everybody.
Yeah, I guess.
Is there room for intentions? Is there room for intentions then?
Intentions happen like any other thought.
Yeah.
The intention's only a thought, isn't it? And a feeling that goes along with that. But it happens, or it doesn't happen. Everything happens, or it doesn't happen. This is the thing that awake people are pretty relaxed about what goes on, because they know they haven't got control. So they're just bystanders, really, and nothing serious. Nothing.
But would you still intend? Would you intend, let's say, what your career should look like, or what your next year should look like, or what your life should?
That not certainly not long-term stuff. No.
Okay.
I mean, when you say, well, did I intend to come in here and start this session? It happened. If I look back, I can describe it as though I intended for it to happen. But there was an awareness of the time, and there was an awareness that this was intended. But it wasn't like the intention was like in the old days where it was something I had to do. I intend things and then they don't happen. That also is true.
It doesn't matter anyway.
Exactly.
Because that's again
something or not.
Yeah, no, that's something that I constantly struggle with, because there's always this existential safety, security need, that, because I intend, I plan, then I know I can take care of myself. But if I just let it flow, then others' intentions will work, and I will get swung whichever way.
No. Certainly a bit more of that might happen, but if you didn't consciously plan anything, things will still happen exactly the same as they always have. Because any plan that you actually remembered doing was a construct after the fact, and it might or might not have come off. I bet you planned things that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's happened too. Actually, more than planned things happen.
Yeah. So the whole idea that I planned it, therefore it came about, therefore I'm in control, I made a choice, I made a decision, that's just something the mind comes up with afterwards. So here's a big one for you. Here's a really big one for you. Everything that you think is a diversion. Everything that you think is an escape from the language traps again. Escape from yourself was going to say, but you know what I mean. I don't mean an actual self, right?
Yeah.
It's an escape from what you're feeling, and you don't even know what you're feeling. The things that you're feeling are so far in the background because of the way that the mind works, that you go through life and you've missed it. You've just missed all of the things that the body is trying to tell you. The body doesn't lie. The mind lies 100%. Now, that's not to say, and this is a bit of a trap here, that's not to say that mind is a bad thing. It's not to say that mind is irrelevant. It's not to say that mind doesn't know anything. I mean, it doesn't, but you get what I'm saying is that the mind is not a culprit. It's an innocent child that wants you to go outside and play all the time and won't allow you to be still, to be silent. It's not that you shouldn't trust the mind, but you can trust that the mind is always going to lead you astray. Of course, there are some useful things that come about, but and you'll know about them. You don't have to worry about that. But 99% of the time, the mind is a distraction. You will never think your way to where you want to be.
Oh, let that sink in. Oh. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, because that's what I do with everything in life.
Exactly. Yeah. And you saw it.
I
You saw
wanted
it. The moment I said that, you wanted to think about it.
Yeah, see, again, I wanted to think about it.
Yeah, you have to stop thinking about it. If to do anything, you need to relax that urge to think and force. If there is anything to do, that would be the thing to do. When you relax that grip, there may be a hint of where you want to go, of the direction. You might get like a scent of something somewhere. But once your mind gets a grip on the task to do, then it's not going to move. It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, the process, if we want to call it that way. It's just not the tool. The mind is not the tool for it. It's not the level of the mind. It's just not. So it's futile completely.
Said while you were talking, there's this inner narration going, forming a question already, which is like, I did an exercise Henry asked me to do, which triggered this for me. And the thing is that okay, so there are thoughts, right? So there's constant bubbling thoughts happening all the time. And there's life. Then some thoughts are a narration about life, creating stories about life. And when I say life, I just mean my life. And then I have emotional reactions to the thoughts. And those emotional reactions drive me to take some actions. So we do respond to thoughts with
That's right.
action, and therefore your response to
True.
thought is affecting life.
Absolutely. I'll tell
Yeah.
you an open
That's
secret.
the game.
It's all thoughts. It's all stories. There is never no story. And that's what you'll spend your whole life doing, is reacting to stories. But the difference between you and me is the nature of the story.
So is the idea to just unplug from this?
No,
Unplug from this response to thoughts?
no. The idea
You
is
can
to
look at
recognize that
the
you are plugged
response.
in.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you say that again, please, Vince?
The idea is for you to recognize that you are plugged into that.
And
You
that's
can't
all.
unplug from it. You think you can unplug, but you can't.
I thought that was the goal.
No. It in a roundabout way, it kind of is, in that by not trying to unplug and recognizing that you are plugged, that will kind of unplug you.
Oh, that is so meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what a friend of mine would say. That's so meta. Yeah.
See, I mean, I can just see you're just bursting with energy that you really want to do something and fix this. I can just see that.
Yeah. Just I want to crack this.
Yeah. Yeah. But the only way you're going to crack it is by going, oh, let go.
Oh, that is so scary for me. That is so scary for me.
Sure, but that's the opposite direction. That's the opposite
And
direction, that kind of that where you are heading with your intention. That's my interpretation of your story, basically, right? You are trying to grab it, hold it, and change it.
yes, exactly.
And you kind of need to let it go, let it do its thing, and just watch it, like you were trying to, I don't know, bring up a child by controlling everything that he touches, interpreting for him whatever he sees, putting your thoughts into his mind. You need to let it go, do its thing, and then if it's needed, support. Yeah, that's the only, well, responsibility that you need to do. If you want to steer it forcefully, it will never grow into a human being that is mentally healthy. And it's kind of similar here. You need to relax at the back seat and kind of watch what is going on without intervening if not necessary. If I know it sounds really, even when I hear myself talking, it sounds wrong because it's just not possible to. I'm not equipped with language that can express that, right? It's impossible. But there is nothing with. It's got nothing to do with control, with force, with anything like that. If anything, it's the opposite. You leave it be and watch what happens.
I've got
You
a
will
good
not die.
analogy for you. Here's a good analogy. My wife sits in the passenger seat in the car and drives the car, even though I've got hold of the controls. Okay. Her feet work the brakes and the accelerator. Her hand works the steering wheel, even though she's in the passenger seat. When I sit in the passenger seat, I don't even know I'm in a car. I'm just looking at all of the scenery all the time. Wow, I never got to see that before. Yeah. you need to get into the back seat and look at the scenery.
And your mind will try everything not to allow you to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
Scary. I'm almost like, feeling fear right now.
Yes.
Yeah, there will be fear, there will be
Like
guilt,
the
there will be
car will crash.
everything.
Yeah, that the car will crash. If I go to the back seat, the car will crash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is uncomfortable.
Yeah. What?
I was lucky enough to crash in a car in the first place and see that nothing happens. So I relaxed then. Because the crash of the car is nothing that important either.
I'm driving a Tesla at the moment. I'm driving a friend's Tesla, and
Oh,
I
wow.
put it on. I put it on auto steer, autopilot, and it steers itself, and it accelerates and decelerates and brakes itself. I don't have to do a single thing except sit in the driver's seat. I don't even have to look. And I can drive for miles as long as there's a white line for it to follow. It'll follow it. And yet, if I do this while I'm in the driver's seat, it's very hard to trust. And yet it's crazy because me seeing what's going on allows me to trust that it's okay. But when I don't see, all of a sudden there's a trust issue. So as I've been driving this for about 12 months now, and it takes a lot of trust to give the car control, to allow it to go around the corners, to know that it will stop. My wife keeps saying, "You're getting too close to the car in front, slow down." And I say, well, the car will know, it will do it. It will slow down. It will never hit the car in front of it. But that trust, you see, that trust is really, so this is a really classic example of developing trust. Now, how do we develop trust? I can't just say to myself, I will trust, because there's a feeling involved, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that trust that everything will be okay, it comes from allowing a little bit to do its own thing, and it works out all right. And then your trust can advance a little bit, and then you let a little bit more, and then as experience tells you that, wow, things still happen okay, even though I'm not directing them. That trust is something that just develops itself. And that's what you're about, is developing the trust that if you drop your control, everything will still be okay.
Because that control was imaginary in the first place anyway.
That's the irony. It never really was control.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
I've heard this so often that when I go into my anxiety panic attack modes, well, I don't get them like really physically, but when I go into those modes, I try to always remind myself that I'm actually not in control anyways.
Yeah. Do this for me now. Stand up, turn around,
Yeah.
walk as far as you can to that other wall, and then turn around and come back and sit down again.
Okay.
You can leave that there. Just go over to the other wall and then come back and sit down. Now tell me, how many times did you think about where to place your feet on that trip?
Not once.
Not once. And yet it happened fine.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
that's
There was a table in the way. I even took a
and you
slight
didn't even
detour.
think about it. It just happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now you can develop the story about the control of your feet and the effort of your brain to to put into the journey that you just made. Now, only now you can go back and do the story about that. Story of success of my life or of a misery of my life, as if we were in control of that success or a misery. It just happens. Whatever happens, it is there. We don't have any choice ever. If we had choice, there's no single situation that you can choose to go left or right. There is never a situation like that. Every time you choose anything, it's only what happens. So if you choose the left door, that's the only choice that you had. You had no choice.
Could not have
Because
happened the other way. Yeah.
It couldn't have happened any other way that it happened, because this is what is going on. There is no alternative reality that you chose the right door instead of the left. Only then there would be choices. But it's this only, and your choice is non-existent. There is no choice for you to make anyway, because some say that it's predetermined, determinism, right? Some say that it's God. Some say doesn't matter. That's another story attached to the fact of this being as it is, and having been as it have been.
Mm.
But the mind wants to I'm missing a word, to own the decision, or at least the decision making, so that it understands what happened, and then it can that it can happen, that it can build up a future reference, kind of, in this story of your life. So you know that when you are not looking left and right when crossing the street, you got hit by a car. So next time you are looking left and right. And it is your decision to look left and right. But is it really? Can you make a choice not to look left and right? Once you have this experience that you had, once everything is as it is, can you do anything that is not as it is? Can you make anything be not as it would be? It's a paradox. It's impossible.
Yeah, it is. Because I mean, when Vince asked the question, I was actually thinking that what made it possible for me to walk to the wall, avoid my coffee table, touch the wall and come back? Because I clearly didn't do it. Like, I didn't have a sense of I was telling my foot where to go. So that was very clear to me that it happened pretty efficiently. But that happened because my parents or my nanny or someone taught me how to walk. But then for that, I had to have parents or a nanny. My parents wouldn't be there without their respective parents. At what point would I have chosen to learn how to walk and say, oh, I need my great grandparents right up to, that dinosaur that existed so that I can walk that wall, touch it and come back without being hit by the coffee table?
You can take anything, absolutely anything, like your thumb in the air right now.
Yeah.
That thumb would not be there if
Mm.
everything that's ever happened in the entirety of all existence, from the beginning of whenever, if there was a beginning, till now, everything had to be exactly the way it was for that thumb to be like that.
That's right.
Well, let's put it another way. Let's go the reverse. For it to be anything other than that, something had to be different. And it wasn't, of course.
Mm.
And even more, that is all assuming that there is a time and the story of the world and us within it. The question is there a time? That's another concept, right? Whatever
Mm.
is. You may have memories of the past. You may know from books that something happened, but it's not there. It's not here. It's not
Not
now.
part of your
It's not
experience.
what is. Yeah. So just as well, it may have never been anything. Whatever is, whatever choice is made, it is, just as I said, I cannot, the choice is a wrong word here. Just like a decision is the basis of the definition of these words is kind of wrong. It's a concept already.
Right. No, I'm reminded of one TED talk I heard about how choice making actually has no agency as a person making a choice, but so many causes and conditions making that choice. So it's a process rather than an agent doing something. So yes, intellectually, yeah, and that for me is also another antidote that I keep going back to, in saying that, well, science has proven that our choices are not an agent making a choice. Like one of the Buddhist teachers says, if we really had choice, I would say today, I'm awake. I should have been, right? If I really had free will and choice. So it's a bunch of processes, inputs, output.
Yeah,
Oh, now I want to control the input. My mind immediately went to controlling the input.
Good luck.
Like I was like, oh, I should do more of this with Vincent Seb, and then I'll become awake. More input.
yeah. The the concepts of the relative and the absolute are interesting and worthy of focusing on for a moment. And the idea of the absolute is that we simply don't know. We can't know. Whatever it is beyond our ability to comprehend, kind of thing. So what we're left with is the relative, and the relative is everything. It's everything that you experience. The whole world. When you talk about life, life is your experiencing. You are life. So the idea that there is something happening to somebody is a mixed up of the absolute and the relative.
Mm.
And they can't mix. They're like oil and water, they simply can't mix up. The absolute is just beyond our ken, full stop. No point in even going there. But the relative, that's what I call this, in capital letters, THIS, this, because it's as good a word as any. And I like the fact that it includes is, THIS, this is. And when I woke up, I had the catchphrase, this is it. But I had to drop the it because it isn't an it. This is. And even is suggests that there's existence. So there's just this. And even that's not really good enough, but it'll do. I don't know of anything better. They're just this. So what this is isn't your actual experience. It's your perception of your experience. Right? You have experience that you don't know about. I do too. You know, we have this concept of the subconscious mind. We have this, right? You had no awareness of the sensation that where your feet contacted the floor as you walked across the room. Yet logically you could say, oh, there was an experience. You must have felt some pressure or some weight or something. You must have felt something, but that's just the mind. It happened. It was part of your experience, but you had no awareness of it. Right? And what we're doing here is changing what we are aware of. We're changing the perspective from which we look at things. That's all. We're not changing anything about this. This is unchangeable. It is what it is. And if we accept that, and I don't mean as a victim, I don't mean a resignation kind of acceptance, but if we, how can I put it, actively embrace what life offers, if we actively embrace what we become aware of as our experience, regardless of what it is, it gets good. I was going to say it gets better, but that's another word trap. It gets good, yeah? And even good's a word trap. Yeah. So
that's what it is. Let's get this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finally, it gets to the point when we allow it to be as is, and not try
we
to.
Can't
we
not
don't try
allow
to
it.
fight it. Yeah. Well, we can, but it only plays against the allowing, not the allowee, so to speak.
Allowing without the allower.
Yeah. Well, you can, you cannot accept that it's raining. You can. What does it change? Nothing. And apart from building up a discomfort in you. That's the same thing regarding this, right? You can allow it. You can agree with it. You can fight it. You can do whatever you want. You can pull from every single side on the same. You've got a cup. You can hold it that way, or you can ask your friends to pull it to every single side. It will not move anyway. It will be still in the very same point, very same place, but with much more effort and pain. If you leave it be, it is still there. I mean, that's the 0 point. This, what Vince said, this is the 0 point. It is whatever it is. How much you attach from every single direction, it's kind of just adding work to it. But it doesn't have any missing a word again. Any power to move it.
No,
it's just, you shouldn't be here. Okay. But it is here. and you can be angry at it. You can be angry at yourself that you are angry at it. You can build on top of that ad infinitum.
Endlessly.
Doesn't change the simple fact that it is here.
But it does change your experience of this
Hmm.
Yeah.
in a big way. It
And
corrupts.
it creates suffering, right? This is exactly what suffering is. Not
Mm.
agreeing to this,
Hmm.
whatever it may be.
So
And it also doesn't mean inaction, right? It doesn't mean I just lie
No.
on the couch.
oh,
No, it
absolutely
doesn't
not.
mean action. Neither action or inaction, because that is a different level. If I can say so. So it's action is coming out of something, or it just happens. I don't know. But whatever, I'm not causing an action. It's like motivation or an avoidance of something, or a drive to do something. It's again attaching to different sides of the same object and pulling from two sides at the same time. It won't change the position of the object, because it is not like with the I will think I need to translate what I've got in my head first to say anything more. So I will go quiet now. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know how to express that.
So let me take my
It's too hard.
real life thing happening with me at this moment. I'm feeling the motivation, desire, intention to learn coding, programming, computer programming. And I've been doing my research and to how to go about it, the right tutorials, not spend too much money and time, and be efficient and learn something that has real world value and all of that. And of course, there's an intention behind it, because oh, I want a skill that can always be a side hustle for me, whether I want to stay in my job long term or not, or just climb the Himalayas and earn enough money for that.
Okay, so let's just change something here. Just change one thing here.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I want to do this, and these are the reasons I want to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of that, if you said, oh, look, an intention has arisen for me to learn coding. It might or might not happen, but yeah, I'll do a bit of research about this. It might go somewhere, it might not. The only thing that's different is that in your original story about it, you were still looking at things from a perspective of control, of being able to do it, being able to apply effort. So what's come up for you just now, when all of a sudden you've just switched a little bit from I did this to it just happened, and all of a sudden that's made you emotional?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it
Because
letting go kind of thing?
Yeah, because I noticed like something in me just relax and just felt such, oh, there was so much ease. I felt such ease in my body.
Yeah. Now you got it, sister.
Oh, an intention arose. And I will just explore where this goes.
Absolutely. Explore, discover, curiosity. That's the stuff. You're like a 2-year-old crawling across the room, interested in what's in front of you. Great.
And see that it doesn't change the outcome in minus, let's say. It doesn't spoil the outcome. It may even improve the outcome, because you will be approaching it more in a more relaxed way. You will not suffer from you know, you will not expel this motivation, and there is no fight, there is no effort. There's just curiosity, just like Vince is constantly saying, that curiosity. That's enough for it to unveil.
You just had a glimpse of this. You just had that,
Yeah.
that feeling of ease, that feeling of floating, of being carried by the flow of the river of life for a moment. Yeah, you had it. Yeah.
No, and I also realized that it had no pressure. In my earlier statement, there was pressure to succeed, to look good, to look successful. And the way you phrased it, none of that was there. And it was just like, let's have fun.
It is like
Let's see where the goes.
that. It's definitely a play, a playing, like a child playing.
Yeah.
Discovering about things. Yes. Beautiful.
If there is no fight, if there is no fight and effort and all this weight to it, once it's light, it is just happening, and you can enjoy it because it is effortless.
Yeah.
And you
Effortless
can-
while putting in the effort at the same time.
Yeah.
Because of course I'm going to spend
Yeah,
those.
the effort can be effortless as well. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah.
And you can appreciate how much energy gets freed up when you can just relax and go with this flow. You're going to be able to learn coding so much easier because you're not worried about how good you're going to be at it. You're not worried about an outcome because it's just happening.
Whatever happens anyway. Whatever the outcome, if we want to discuss the timeline, then whatever is going to happen is going to happen anyway.
Anyways.
If you
right.
quit, you will quit anyway. It can't be any other way that it is going to be.
Or some Luddite becomes the world government leader, dictator, and he says there should be no computing at all in the world. That will happen. Then as a coder, I'm out of the job. I'll have to learn farming. Yeah. Oh.
I keep on forgetting that it is sometimes necessary to approach this like Vince approached it from the point of view of the mind. So changing the
way we look at it.
Yeah, the way we look at it, but the way we look at it changes kind of automatically, because it's like I keep on, because this helps me to kind of understand and work through all these issues, is to look at all these things as levels or points of view or perspectives. You've got a perspective of a body, you've got a perspective of a mind, you've got a perspective of a spirit, let's call it that way. They all affect each other in some way, but it is not when you are, I don't know, crippled in some way, for example, after an accident, or you are ill. It doesn't mean that you are going to get a depression, clinical depression. But it can affect each other. These two levels, psychological level and bodily level, can definitely influence each other. But it is not necessary that if you are going to have an accident, you will have depression. But sometimes it is that way, that when you're again, words, but when you relax, when your spirit relaxes, your mind also relaxes and your body also relaxes, right? When you've got tense nervous system, your body will be reactive to it because it is kind of a part of a body. And your brain, your mind is kind of a part of your being or spirit, whatever, depending on tradition that you are talking from. So it is just like Vince was very accurate in pinpointing you, putting a needle into your mind at the exact level that you needed. That is brilliant. That is something that Vince can do.
And
That's so
let me
great.
tell you,
I can't do it.
he doesn't know he's doing it either. I tell you,
Yeah.
it just happens.
But
I have no idea. Yeah.
But that transmission comes from that window on my Zoom screen. Exactly. From my Zoom screen, it will not come. The
Good
transmission
stuff,
like that most likely will not come.
It does.
It just happened to me. Yeah.
No, Seb. I'm sorry, I disagree. I disagree with you in my experience. Because what Vince did was, it was like the last blow of the hammer and something cracked. But something broke loose, like a certain belief structure just fell apart as a last blow. But Seb, I know you have planted some seeds before, because I remember, for me, a really strong impact was in one of the meetings. You said, "Oh, it's such a game, to watch these emotions arise and the reactions to the emotions." And I'm not doing justice to how you said it, because you said it really eloquently. But that has stayed with me, and I can connect that was one of the cracks in the belief structure, and then Vince's was the last blow. And then so I think each of us does our part. And maybe somebody who's watching this video recording, maybe somebody from the group, and then just this conversation cracks something for them, which I definitely hope.
Yeah. Quite frankly, Seb, I'm really surprised to hear you say that like that. I don't understand where this modesty, humility, this
nothing like that.
predation. No, what was it that? Where did it come from? It seemed like you.
No, it's just an observation.
Okay.
It's just an observation, because you or Phil, or I don't remember all the names. Sorry, I've got a terrible memory for the names. But it is, you are very precise sometimes in putting the exact amount of whatever is needed in the very precisely right place into a person.
Yeah, sure.
I can only describe, the landscape, so to speak. Yeah. And if somebody takes something out of it, that's fine. But you can poke him
Yeah.
exactly where it should be poked.
No, I wasn't talking about me. I was talking about you saying that things wouldn't come from your window. I thought that was a bit
Yeah,
odd.
that's
But
the
it does.
thing.
The stuff does come from
That's
your
the comparison.
window. Yeah, there. Okay. We can't compare. We're a great team. What do you mean compare? I don't know about
I
that.
think this is exactly when, Vince, what you say, that the hive works. You know, the
Yes.
hive works. Because, you know, like
Yeah.
Seb's antidote, which was, you know, or the analogy of looking in the fridge, and you keep looking, opening the door of the fridge to keep looking and saying, oh, is the ketchup not there? Is it not there? Is it not there on the shelf? Is it not there in the door? That analogy has helped me so much, has brought me so much ease
Yeah.
in
I
not
can't
having
believe.
to.
Yeah. And people like yourself, people will say things at these meetings, and then somebody will be watching the recording who I've never seen. I've never come across them, you know. I've now got 200 people on the list that I send out for these meetings, and 3 of us are here tonight out of 200. But people will watch it, and I will get feedback from some people that say, yeah, that was great. I got somebody said such, Shaheen said this and it was fantastic. Look, really got something out of it, you know. I hear that all the time. It doesn't matter who or what, it's gonna suit somebody for sure
And
will get something out of it.
yeah, and that's precisely why I'm absolutely always very candid. Very candid. I just, no
Absolutely.
filters, no looking good. I drop all of that, you know, because one is,
I
of course,
suspect
you know,
that's the case for most people here. Yes, we're
first the
beyond the
process.
pretension, aren't we?
Mm, mm,
What you get is what you see, is what you get is what you see. Yeah, that's it.
yeah. So that's how I come to these meetings. I think it's also because of the just you know,
Yep.
the energy structure or whatever you call it. And also then, if it's authentic, then it benefits others.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Yes.
all
Yep,
that's
yep,
needed is to just be authentic and
Mm.
nothing else.
yep. So you can go back to Henry and tell him you want the final questions. You're awake.
Can I get a certification, please?
I'm serious. Yes. Yeah. I will send you a badge.
Oh, wait.
But you're going to be a good guide. I know this. I know from because you're eloquent and you've got all of the characteristics, including your enthusiasm, to be a really good guide. And we need lots of guides at LU. Last we looked, there was 29 people waiting for a guide, and we just don't have enough. I'm working with 7 people at the moment, and I'm exhausted some nights, 2 or 3 hours every single night before I go to sleep. And I can't keep up with people. There's so many there. So yeah,
Oh,
wake up so you can be a guide.
yeah, I'll be happy to do it. I mean, actually, it will be, no. Yeah. Whenever you tell me, I'm ready. Mm.
Well, how are you going to know that you're awake?
That's why I wanted the certification.
Yes. Well,
It's like,
it's probably the best way. You can't trust your mind to tell you.
yeah, exactly. Because I was like, but my mind does all these tricky things. So
Yeah.
maybe I trust Vince more. Maybe he knows how it's enough. No, but I think, here I'm going to, or at least intuitively what I'm feeling right now is I don't even have to plan on becoming a guide. It will happen organically when it will happen.
Yep.
It'll just, there is a willingness, there is intention to help, there's motivation to help. And I'm available. And then when the right moment happens, it'll happen.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, thank God, this is one career plan I don't have to make.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. Believe me, things, life. I don't know how to put this. Life wants to treat you well, and allow it, and it will.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It is. It is. It's because
Very,
you wish good things for everybody. Probably more so for everybody else other than yourself.
Another poke.
yeah. Means you cracked another one, which is a belief that I have to survive life. That life is out to get me and I have to survive. That's not the case. That's not my
No,
experience.
absolutely not.
It's just a belief constantly keeping me on this treadmill.
It's a little bit hard for you to see that you are life, but it's easy
Yeah.
to see that when you are dead, there is no life for you. So the fact that you are not dead is all you need to know, that you are life. You're not separate from life. You are life. Life is you. So we're talking about these things like you already know that there's no self running the show. You can see, just as your feet knew what to do when they walked across the room, that your being does what is absolutely everything that is necessary. It does, without any directive from an imaginary self. So I want to ask you, do you believe that there's a self running the show, other than as a response to stories? Do you believe there's an actual controlling entity somewhere inside you? No.
I can't.
Yeah, I don't for a moment think that you do.
No.
You're past that. That's the first fetter. It's gone. Okay, you know there's no self. That's it. Yeehaw. There's your badge. Put it on. Okay. What will come along now, though, what will come along from time to time are doubts,
Yeah.
right? But what are doubts? They're when you start believing thoughts again.
Yeah.
So when you recognize that this feeling of doubt, oh, I'm not there, when that comes along, you know that it's you responding to a story, right? And all stories are stories. The only relevance that a story actually has is how you respond to it.
Mm.
So how would you respond to doubt stories? Let me give you
I
something.
definitely am not going to open the fridge.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're not looking at waking up as an achievement. That's common to
Yeah.
see it that way. But what we're looking to look at what we are, what happens when we wake up is that we simply have uncovered it. We've removed the chaos that the mind has produced that covers it up. See, it's not a new thing. It's not something extra that you've added. It's something that was always there underneath all of this chaos that the mind produced.
There's a
And
beautiful ordinariness to it.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And I love the phrase, you might have heard me say it before, that people say, you know, nothing has changed, but everything is different. And the
Mhm.
difference is that we appreciate the beauty of it. Suddenly the colors are more vibrant, the shapes are more defined, that there's just a different appreciation. It's like when you sink into a warm bath and that feeling overcomes you as the warm water just makes you feel beautiful, or it's just a change in perception, and the appreciation happens. It's not anything new. It was always there. And if you think of that when you think of when doubt turns up, see what doubt will do is it'll take away the vibrancy of the color. It'll take away the beauty of the shape. It'll take away your appreciation. And what you say to those doubt thoughts when you recognize that they've happened is, give me back the vividness. Go away and let me appreciate the way things really are. And there's a second
Like,
fit
I know-
going.
yeah, and I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to design a poster which has beautiful calligraphy or typography, and it says "they." That's my reminder for doubt, antidote for doubt. This. The doubt can be there.
Mm,
We'll play that game too.
yeah, absolutely. Great. Beautiful. Love it. And when you see it for
Oh,
what it is,
I love you. I wish I could give you a hug.
I love you too. That's great. Yeah.
I love you, Ted. Thank you. Now, when I was talking about doubt is allowed there too, I got a flavor of what Seb said last time. Now I got a taste of what you said, Seb. Like actual savoring flavor of it. Of saying, yeah, let's play that game. Thank you. Oh, this is so precious. This is absolutely precious. And so ordinary and so simple at the same time.
Yes, yes, sure. But there's habit, there's conditioning, there's the way we were, the way we have been for a long, long time. That doesn't give up so easily.
Mm.
But but when it comes back, you see it. You
Mm.
see it for what it is, and you can go, okay, I don't have to engage. I don't have to worry about the future. I don't have to worry about a career path. Things will look after themselves. Yeah. Things changes. Well, when you wrote something down earlier, I thought to myself, this is a bit of a trick. When you write something down, it along with that is a story of intention about reading it again later and doing something with it, making an effort about something. Yeah.
It already seems silly for me. And I know I'm never going to go back and look at it because it's already like irrelevant,
Yes.
way past that. What is the point?
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
This is just in a matter of minutes.
So what happens is these words, and they're only words, and there's an irony here that we're using the portal is through the mind, right? But we're in the act of saying the mind is not what we used to think it was. It's something else. Yeah. Yet we're going in through the mind to say that we're talking about itself, so to speak. So with old conditioning, if something comes up, it doesn't mean that anything is undone. There's nothing undone about what's happened for you. It's extra. Something comes up, it's on top of what was already there. So words that you hear, they change things for you. You were changed by your relationship to those words. You allow them in and they have a big effect on you. So when doubt turns up, that's extra on top of what was already there. It's not undoing anything. Nothing can be undone. And we welcome shit when it turns up. Old responses, triggers, they're going to happen for a long time. Yeah. Especially when you're with your family, they'll happen. But they're an opportunity. So an opportunity that you don't have to work with, but they're an opportunity to realize, to recognize that there are triggers from the past. Well, it's jumping ahead a little bit, but they're not from the past. They originated somewhere beforehand, but they are fully in the now when you respond to them as a trigger. So you don't. So anyway, but just recognize that nothing gets undone. Everything that comes up now, from now on, is a gift, is an opportunity, is a chance for you to undo some more of the old conditioning. It's a chance for you to get free from automatic responses, from being lost in mental shit. Yeah.
I realized something, Vince.
Sorry.
Already, I realized something.
Yes.
That while you were speaking, I was largely listening. And so far, while either you or Seb was speaking, I was either formulating the next question, or I was formulating a story about what you were saying, or a response to what you were saying. I think in the whole meeting, it's the last few minutes when you were speaking, I was just listening.
Say that last little bit again.
That in the last few minutes when you were speaking, I was just listening.
Yes. You were hearing?
Hearing and listening.
The fact that you are aware, even if you weren't at the time, that you were doing, getting the next question ready, et cetera, you were a little detached from what was being said because of that. The fact that you're aware of that is a really big positive thing. It's when that happens and you're lost in it and you're not aware of it that you are asleep. So I say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes for you to recognize that that was happening. The fact that you become aware of it is a very awake kind of response.
Okay. I see that. Oh.
So what was happening doesn't matter. I'm repeating myself here, but whatever comes up, it's okay. It's all grist for the mill. It's all something to work with. Right? And at a certain point, and that point might come with language makes it so hard. I've got to use concepts like an evolution or concepts like at some time in the future. They're concepts, but okay. But a time will come when you don't need to pay any attention to that processes anymore. The time will come when you will just be like that 2-year-old wandering through life, just amazed at whatever it turns up in front of you. That will happen. That will come when you no longer need to think about thinking about things.
Or even not thinking about things.
Yeah. That's when life gets really ordinary, but different. That's back to when mountains are mountains again, or back when we're chopping water and carrying wood.
I recently started to think about thinking. Because you hear a lot about the lack of thinking when it all happens, and I kind of didn't notice that, but this is exactly the way I put it. I haven't noticed that, because once you turn your attention towards the thoughts, it turns out that they are there, but they are just not intrusive.
Our attention.
Yeah. You don't even, I remember vaguely the time before, and I was kind of being torn to every single side with every single thought. It was pulling that one was pulling, those ones were pulling, and I was like, give me a break, give me a little bit of peace. They are not engaging me.
Mm.
We have to use words, so sorry. I'm not sorry, but it is always whatever we talk about, we are using concepts to communicate. So we have to agree upon that, and that's it. But it is fact that it is much more quiet. Like TV was still on, but it was like down to 10%. When you pay attention, you will catch what they are saying. But when you are not paying attention, not looking towards the TV, it's just in the background.
Yeah.
Vince once said about the fridge noise at the background that you just don't notice. You get used to it and it's there, but you won't even know if it's on or off. It's just there. So my reflection upon that is that it's actually it's the same mountain like it was before. It's just not pulling you anymore.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. It's really it's much more fundamental that I can express it, because it is a complete change of the way you live.
Yeah,
but it is difficult to say how much of a change it is, because it seems so little.
Yeah, there's an interesting analogy that could be appropriate here, and that is that, let's say you're with a group of people and somebody in the group gets up on their soapbox and starts going on about something that they're passionate about, but you've heard it before. It can take a little bit of courage to say to them, you've already told me this, stop. Okay? And that's the same kind of courage that is valuable with your thoughts. Would you believe, some researchers come up that 80% of your thoughts, and I don't know where that figure came from, but 80% of your 70,000 thoughts that you have in a day, 80% of those are repetitions of exactly the same thoughts you had yesterday.
Yay.
It's boring.
Right. Yeah, one of my mentors called it the playlist, that you keep playing the same playlist.
Yes.
Yeah, she calls it the playlist. Okay, now I understand. Yeah.
But in the early days, your thoughts have a kind of a, how can I put it? They have a bit of a power to demand that you engage with them. And let's say that person in the group is a really, really, really good friend of yours, and you can tell them to shut up, and they will do it without taking offense, because they know that you've heard it before, and right. So your thoughts, that's a good relationship for you to have with your thoughts. You can tell them to shut up, and they'll do that without taking offense. And like Seb says, they don't stop, but they'll just go off in the background, you know. If somebody said, what have you been thinking? I would have to go, I don't know. And like, if sometimes I might be able to drag it out of wherever the thought was about what I was thinking, but most of the time I have no idea what the thoughts were about, because I wasn't paying any attention to them. But they're still there. I think they're there. As Seb says, if I bring my attention to them, they are there. It's like I've got tinnitus. I'm an old bugger, and I've got tinnitus in my ear, tinnitus. I don't know how you say it. But I don't hear that unless somebody says the word, and then I think about it and I can hear it. but otherwise I have no idea that it's there.
Oh, wow. That's one thing I would love to get to, because I have tinnitus too.
Well,
Yeah, and it bothers me.
you will realize, that's a perfect example. You will realize that if you're not thinking about it, it doesn't exist. There are only certain times when it comes into existence, even though you can logically say it's probably there all the time you're awake.
Like, you said that, and now I can hear it.
Yeah.
Throughout the meeting, I didn't hear it.
Never thought about it and didn't hear it. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
now I can hear it.
Mm.
Wow, this is magic. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
It's all about perspective and approach to what is our reality, set of reality. And it's easier, obviously, it's easier said than done. So, for example, if my leg hurts, the pain is everywhere in my consciousness. But then when I watch a movie that is very interesting, the pain is like 20%, not 100 anymore. Same thing with tinnitus, I believe. So it is the evening, then when it is the worst, when you've got nothing to do, nothing to hear, nothing to think about, and you just lie down and trying to get to sleep, and there is this ringing in your ears, right? It was that all day long, but it's now when you hear it, because it just expanded kind of to the whole of the consciousness of yours, of the awareness. It filled it up to the brim, because the rest of the things, objects in that consciousness just went away, because they are not needed anymore. Probably that is quite interesting, actually. If the consciousness kind of after awakening, if the consciousness expands a lot, so that the thoughts are not filling the consciousness to the brim anymore, or is it the opposite, that your consciousness shrinks to the point that they don't fit anymore? I have no clue. Or maybe it's not relevant, but it is a funny thought.
And you notice
Anyway, I will need to run, so I will wave
Okay.
goodbye to you, and thanks
Thank you so
for
much,
the
Deb.
meeting.
You're-
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'd be great. Yeah.
so much.
Thanks. See you next time.
See you next time.
Mm. He's good. He's really good. Mm. You notice that both Seb and I all night have been smiling and laughing a lot. That just everything has got great humor in it. It's just and that is intimate. That's what I can say. It's but the humor comes from the discovery, from the unexpected, that's always in front of us. It's always, no matter how familiar something is, it's a discovery.
Mhm.
I stood. It was today. Yes, it was today. My wife and I took our dog for a walk, and we went where we usually go. But on the way back, I had to wait for my wife to to drop a little bag of dog poo in the bin, and I was standing next to a tree that I've walked past 100 times, and I've seen the bark, But this time I was so close to it and I was able to touch the bark on the tree. And I was amazed at how hard it was. I thought it would be soft and I could peel it off. But when I grabbed it, it was a pine tree. And when I grabbed the bark, it was really strong. It was really solid. It was like, wow, what a discovery. It's amazing. Yeah. It was just like my whole world expanded. It was just brilliant. Yeah. And that doesn't happen if your mind is going flat out all the time. It just takes a little bit of space to discover new stuff coming in all the time. And even the familiar is new every time we look at it. Every time we go near it, it's new. Yeah. Yeah. Gee, I'm glad you turned up tonight. You know, if nobody came, I would start thinking about whether Saturday night was going to be a thing or not. But I'm so pleased you're here. This has been really good. What a great opportunity it's turned out to be, eh? Yeah.
It's such an opportunity because we really we really dove into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have, I think, Ramiz who joined us somewhere midway.
Oh,
So
I missed.
maybe it'll be,
Is somebody else here that I don't see?
yes, there's Ramiz Mortada.
I wonder where I can't see him. Yeah. Is it a him or a her? I don't know. Ramiz, are you here? Talk to me. No?
Hello.
Oh, hello. Yes. Now I hear you. Yes. It's a him. You're a him. Why don't I see you? I don't even see a blank screen for you. This happened once
When
before.
you switch the view to gallery view,
I am on gallery view, I think. Yeah, let me have a look here.
but I think Ramiz's video is not on.
Yes, but I should generally, if the video is not on, I'll still see a blank square.
Yeah, right.
Not that it doesn't matter. No, that's yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. The Ramiz. Mortada. Mortada. So have you been lurking the whole time tonight, Ramiz?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you getting anything out of it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. Okay. Are you shy? Why can't we see you?
1 minute.
I find it interesting that you could see him and I can't. And I did for a moment, but now he's gone again.
Are you, you must be on your mobile, right?
No, I'm not. You are on a mobile, obviously. And I think Ramiz was as well. But see how you've got that. There we go. See how Ramiz has got that little
Yeah, hello.
screen in the middle? That's the mobile thing. Yeah. Hello, Ramiz. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good. That's the social stuff out of the road. Now tell me how you really are.
Um, Lately, it's been really crazy. I'm having feelings that more intense to a degree that I haven't experienced before, like intense confusion and despair, and at the same time, there are moments of bliss and clarity. Like the range of my emotions became wider, and this is my experience lately.
Yep, sure. Yeah. I found a similar thing happened with the I put it down to the filters, the less filters being active, and so the range of emotion and sensations became bigger. Yeah. Are you do you feel comfortable with that, or is that disturbing for you?
It's not stable. Everything is like up and down, up and down.
Yep. Yep.
But it's interesting. Like I'm curious. It's like a process. I don't feel any more sense of control over what happens,
Mm-hmm.
and this is scaring.
Yes. Yeah. Has anything bad happened as a result of not feeling in control? Or is the scary about what might happen?
Maybe the loss of control itself. I don't. It's like something is holding on, but I don't know what.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's a scary place to be on the edge like that, when you wonder what will happen if you if you lose control completely. But of course, do you recognize that you never really actually had control? That the idea
When I pay, yeah, when I pay a closer attention to my experience, I find that there is no control, but the sense of agency is still here, or the illusion of agency.
Yes. Yep. 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 Well, a really good technique with that one is to look for the agent that the sense of agency comes from. So if you feel a sense of agency, then to investigate that, and you investigate, what is it? Where is it? How does it feel? Is it actually a sense of agency, or is it a logical conclusion? And that's the separating point. You know, when you discover that the sense of agency, the feeling, is just a feeling, when you discover that it is just a feeling, it's not actually in control of anything. It's the mind that convinces you that there is control. That as soon as you investigate, as soon as you look underneath what the mind is saying, that's when you realize what you've already realized, that there is no control. So the sense of agency that comes afterwards when you think about it, does that have any substance?
It's like a sense or a feeling. But when I inquire into this feeling of I, thoughts becomes quiet. I feel like I'm holding into this sense of I. It's like this is the inquiry is about. If I don't know how I will see this I as an illusion if I'm focused into it. It's like doing inquiry is um, solidify this sense of I. It's like I'm holding into it. I'm like focusing into the feeling of I, that because I'm doing this, it doesn't go anywhere.
Mm. How do you, what is the experience of holding on?
I don't know. It's like I don't know what to do when I inquire.
Mm. Mm.
I look into this feeling of I, and that's all I do. And when I find myself thinking or lost in thoughts, I bring my attention into this feeling of I. And I don't know what to expect more than that.
Mm. So the first thing to do that to see the reality of this feeling, this sense of I, is to investigate what the sensations are. Where are they in the body? What do they feel like? Are they changing? But what when you look at those things, you need to be just a little careful that you don't apply a label to what it is you're feeling or why you're feeling it or even where it is. You investigate, you shift your awareness, you become aware of the subtlety, the gee, I'm having a struggle here. The characteristics of the sensation. As soon as you hone in, you get very quickly below the level of language where to say it's a sharp feeling or a dull feeling or a heavy feeling or it's got a color or an aliveness, whatever you might want to say about it, that's gross. The subtlety of it, when you really look at it, is beneath words. And so we need to be careful. If you start putting a label, if you say, oh, that's I'm feeling fear or I'm feeling joy or anything, as soon as you put that label on it, you've moved up to a very simplistic level, and it doesn't do justice. So what we're talking about is you investigate the sensation down at that really subtle level where words cannot do it justice. And when you get down there, you're looking at a sensation that you might be experiencing it here somewhere, just as an example. And then you go, oh, before I started looking, that felt like me. It felt like an I there. As soon as I look at it, I can see that it's just a sensation. And if you can get into that sensation to the point where you really appreciate the quality of the sensation, you can ask yourself, does that sensation contain any information? Is it saying, this is a self? Is it saying anything, or is it just a sensation? That's just a technique that can be useful. I tend to not put too much emphasis on the results of looking for an eye and not finding one. That's too much of an intellectual exercise to my way of thinking for it to be really useful. But it is something that at Liberation Unleashed is a lot of guides put a lot of emphasis on that. I don't. I'm much more inclined to say what you will recognize that the self consists of is a whole lot of stories that you've got, a whole lot of descriptions that you've got about characteristics of Ramiz, what he likes, what he doesn't like, personal preferences, how he looks, what he feels, his history, all of this stuff. They're all stories that you've got, and you respond to those stories. And that, as I see it, is what the self actually consists of. It has no substance. It is stories that we respond to. The response has substance, but you can't call that an I or a self. That's a response to a story about, which is a concept, a story about Ramiz.
I'm curious about inquiry. Is it inquiry into the self, the ego, or it is inquiry about the fact that there is something here, awareness?
No, there's inquiries. Inquiry is a bit misleading again, I think. There is no such thing as awareness. It's just a concept. It's a way of describing where your focus is. That's all. Being aware it needs to be a verb, not a noun. So when you inquire, what you're looking to do is to discover what is actual as compared to what is conceptual. And it's kind of easy because the only thing that is actual for you is your current experiencing. And here's a trick. The moment you become aware of what your current experiencing is, it's already after the fact. Your awareness lags the actual experience by a millisecond or so, or many milliseconds, I don't know, but it lags. So what you do become aware of is already finished. It's already in the past. So direct experience is when you are experiencing something as it is occurring, which definitely precludes any thoughts about it. Any thoughts about it come afterwards. And for you to be aware that you are aware of something, so you're aware of awareness, that also comes afterwards. So were you here when Shaheen walked across the room and touched the wall and came back?
No.
No, you missed that. Okay. Okay, so you can just do this in your imagination. Because I asked her to do it, she got up from the chair and she walked across the room to the other wall. She touched the wall, she turned around and she came back. She had no awareness of the instructions that the brain was giving to the feet to walk. She had no awareness at the time it was happening that she had to dodge and go around the coffee table so that she didn't walk into it. She just did it. There was no awareness of it at all. Yet she could replay it in memory afterwards. She could think about it. She could remember doing it. And so that was a mental process of doing it. But that obviously came a long time afterwards. She had no awareness of the sensation of her feet on the floor. Yet it happened. There was a sensation, but she had no awareness of it because she was thinking of something else when she did it. So when you inquire, it's always going to be in your mind. It's always going to be a head thing, which is fine. The whole point of it is to discover that what you're inquiring about isn't something that lives in your head. It's not your thoughts.
Yeah, this is what I mean about I inquire into something that I feel like it's an object, or the sense of I, the sense of me, is something that I know. Is this what I do inquiry about, or the mystery of being?
Yep. Okay.
Something that is beyond my mind.
You cannot, you never will understand the mystery of being. The human mind, the human brain does not have the capacity to comprehend the reality of absolute existence. All you can do is demystify your current experiencing. So forget about any absolute. The absolute exists in its own way, in a way that we can't comprehend. But the relative, that's everything for you, your experience. Well, what comes to mind is that you're making a job out of it where there's no need to. You're taking it way too seriously and you're working way too hard at it. And that's the very thing that's making it hard for you to see what's really going on. Nothing you read or watch or listen to, nothing I say or anybody can say is going to do anything other than offer an opportunity. I'm getting tied up here. It's your response to that stuff that is valuable for you. It's your response to what is said, to what you listen or read or hear. It's your response to that where the discovery is, that you can discover reality. You can discover what is actual. And remember, always from the perspective of you, of your organism, not any absolute perspective. You look at a tree, and I look at a tree, and the dog looks at a tree, and the bumblebee looks at a tree, and every one of us gets a unique experience of what that tree is. But that's the relative, that's our experience. So the dog sees it with less colors, the bumblebee sees it at the infrared spectrum. You and I see what's going on in our mind more than what the actual tree is about. Right? But we all have a unique experience. But the absolute, what the tree actually is beyond our understanding. It's beyond our ability to appreciate. Have no idea what it actually is. And so if there is some element of you that you might want to equate to the absolute, again, it's unknown. So if you really are consciousness and that's all there is, maybe the case, I have no idea. I can't know it. You know, some people will say, well, your awareness. Well, if that really is the case, I don't know. I know about being aware, but I don't know about this thing called awareness. So the trick is to come back to the relative all the time. Come back to what is your perspective, and whatever it is that you interpret from the perspective of you is what your reality is. Nothing less and nothing more. Do you have a guide on Liberation Unleashed at the moment?
No.
No. How did you come to these meetings? Have you been watching Panilla or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a smart cookie, that lady. She knows what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, I think, alternate Tuesdays, or is it? I'm not sure if it's alternate Tuesdays or two Tuesdays in a month. Pernilla and Todd also have a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And sometimes I join there too. There's a lot of chipping off of my beliefs that happens there too.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I could recommend any of that. Both of those are really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was Pernilla's recommendation in one of her, I think one of the meetings or the video where she suggested, having a Liberation Unleashed guide is priceless. And I have one that I've been working with for almost now 2 weeks plus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really helping, really helping, really chipping away
Trying to do this stuff yourself is really difficult. Yeah. In fact, you probably won't succeed by yourself.
No, by myself, I've been doing it for a decade now. And
Yeah.
because how can the mind liberate the mind? It's against its own interest. It will not do it.
It's a paradox, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
well, I tried to do it myself for 43 years or something, you know, and then, yeah. Yeah, so familiarity with this is good stuff. Are you continuing to watch Penilla on YouTube or go to any of her sessions?
I don't know about her meetings, but I will check it out. I will
Mm.
see.
I would recommend them, yeah. And if you're inclined, I would recommend you go to Liberation Unleashed, although there's lots of people waiting for guides at the moment, but if you were to be patient, and that would be also helpful. But whatever happens, happens. Yeah. Depends who you get as a guide as to how they, because every guide is really different. It's amazing how different they are. I don't work at all like any of the others, and they all work a bit differently to each other as well. So yeah, it's a bit potluck who you get. It depends on how busy they are. I know Stacey works with about 10 people at once. I don't know how she does that. Like, I'm flat strapped with about 7 at the moment, and probably only 5 of those are really active, you know, every night kind of thing. But yeah, but that's good value, worth doing. And keep coming to these meetings. Oh, he's gone. Oh. Yeah.
No, I've realized that this, and then I learned this concept of dyad from a Canadian. And I think it's part of the Zen tradition to have this dialoguing.
Mm.
And what I think has worked from the experience that I've had in these meetings with you and everybody in these Zoom meetings is the fact that there's mind like a bubble wrap around life. And mind doesn't want to look at life, but then that's what you want, whoever this you is, or whatever this process of self-discovery is, and it wants to. And then it needs a partner to fly under the radar and create the hole in the bubble wrap
Yeah.
so that life can peek through. And then enough of those holes get created till it falls apart.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's well done. Yeah. Yeah. I see the mind is putting a bubble wrap around reality. Yeah. Let's protect us from reality. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you can't survive life without me, you know.
Yes, yes. It convinces
Let
us
me
that
show
we
you the
need it.
way.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wind up for the night. That's been a great one. Yeah.
Great. This is, oh,
Yeah.
this was so valuable, Vince. You are a bodhisattva.
No. All right. All right. I'll post this meeting as well on YouTube, but only as unlisted, so you might want to watch some of it again. Maybe not.
I think I want to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some good stuff there for you, I think. Yeah. Yeah, great.
Yeah, and especially I think, it's also a good antidote for when the doubts arise
Mm.
and another thought storm takes you over. It's a good idea to come back and just see the journey taken.
Yeah. The doubts are a little bit of desperation bubble wrap that the mind wants to pull in. Yeah. All right.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye, Ramesh.
Bye.
Bye, note taker.
Bye, Ramis.
Bye, Vince. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, come back. Yeah.
Okay, I will.